Our favorite travel destination, without a doubt, are the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. And in this video, we're going to share with you everything you need to know about the islands before you go.
Yeah, this place is incredible. Besides that, you get so close to wildlife and you get to see species here in the Galapagos that you've never been able to see before. While waiting in line for a ferry, we saw a school of golden rays swim by. And a zippy penguin just showed up out of nowhere, moving as fast as lightning in the water. It was amazing. While going to a bar and eating lunch, we actually saw a sea lion come in and go inside the bar and fall asleep under the stairs. I mean, wildlife is just everywhere, so just be ready with your cameras because you're going to have some great stories to tell from everything you're going to see. Plus, the landscapes are uniquely stunning. I can't say enough about it. You're just going to love it. So, if you're thinking about going to the Galapagos Islands, I say you're in for a treat. But there are definitely some things you're going to want to know before you go so you can plan the best trip ever. So in this video, we're going to share with you 15 things you need to know before you go to the Galapagos Islands. And also, keep in mind, if you want travel tips from all over the world, please subscribe.
But the Galapagos Islands are an archipelago of about 18 islands. And most people either explore the islands by land, staying on the islands, or by cruise, staying 5 to 10 days on a cruise ship. Now, we find that staying on land is definitely the most affordable option, but if you're short on time, a cruise is a great way to see a lot in a short amount of time. The most important thing you have to consider, though, is the best time to visit the Galapagos. Now, we were there during the first part of December, and the sea conditions then are still quite cold. We hear that the sea warms up quite a bit by mid to end December, and that's really when high season starts, late December till May. And this is because this is when the sea will be the warmest and the water will be the clearest. I've heard so many negative reviews about the Galapagos from people who did not come during this December to May window. And the biggest thing that they complain about are that the sea conditions are so cloudy that they can't see any wildlife whatsoever. So it's a shame to come all the way to the Galapagos and you'll be 1 meter or 2 meters away from a turtle, but you cannot see them because the water is too cloudy. And we have experienced one cloudy water situation in the Galapagos on Tortuga Bay in Santa Cruz. And I'm here to admit, it didn't matter how close the shark swam to us, we could not see it under the water. We could only see it from the shore. It really is a real issue, and that's why if you plan on snorkeling, you definitely want to focus on those months, December to May.
So what's up next is what to see. The most popular islands are Isabella Island, Santa Cruz Island, and San Cristobal Island. Our favorites were San Cristobal and Isabella Island, and we highly recommend those. When you're in San Cristobal, you're going to want to take the 360 tour. This is the tour that takes you all the way around the island, and it's going to show you all the best spots and best places to go snorkel and get the best views. You're going to want to take the tunnels tour or the tunnelets tour. We found that this was one of the best spots that we had the best snorkeling of all the Galapagos Islands. You can also sign up for some of the other day trips that take you to the other Galapagos Islands to enjoy what they have. All of these destinations offer you a unique experience, one from the other.
And if you want a complete guide on what to do on each island with a cost breakdown, you can check out our Galapagos playlist up here. Now, the Galapagos Islands are a protected area, and you do have to pay a national park entrance fee in order to get in there. And it's $100 per person, so a bit pricey, but it is definitely worth it. Now, when we arrived, we didn't know about the entrance fee. However, we did not know that we had to pay it in cash. So make sure you have enough cash when you arrive in order to pay that $100 entrance fee into the island. Some additional fees are when you first arrive into Ecuador and you're in the airport, they're going to charge you a $20 transit fee to go to the Galapagos. And in addition, there are also port fees when you're on Santa Cruz Island and Isabella Island. So on Isabella, it is $10 per person, and on Santa Cruz, it's only $1 a person, so very affordable there. So there are quite a few fees involved in going to the Galapagos, and they do all need to be made in cash.
And this leads perfectly into our next point. Cash is king in the Galapagos. And I'm not saying that figuratively, I'm saying that literally. In the Galapagos, you're going to want to use cash for these day trips and your ferry trips and moving around because using a credit card there is really a disadvantage to you. In fact, it's a disadvantage to the tune of about 10 to 12% more by using your credit card. It's not that you can't use it, but it's going to cost you more to use your credit card just in the fees. And we know people love their travel points and using their credit cards, but your credit card points does not equate to 10 to 12% cash value. So be very careful when using your credit card on islands like these.
Yeah, for example, on Isabella, I had to pay $300 in cash for our accommodation because they would not accept a credit card. And also on the same island, we had to pay about $380 for the two of us to go on 3 different tours. So that was a lot of cash to need to have in hand. Also, the ATMs on the island only have a withdrawal limit of about $200. So I would have to use the ATM several times in order to get enough cash in order to pay for all of that. That's why it's so helpful if you go ahead and bring the amount of cash that you need before you come. Also, in a pinch, I just went ahead and sent myself money through Western Union so I could get all the cash out at the same time. And the fees for Western Union were less than the fees for the ATM. So it was a really good way to get some cash if you're on the island and you didn't prepare enough. Now, in addition to saving 10 to 12% by paying in cash, you also save money when you book your tours in person. So we find that a lot of the tour information online is either non-existent or the prices are double and triple of what you can get when you pay in person. So this is why we recommend waiting until you actually get onto the islands to book your tours. And this goes for all your day trips and even last minute cruise deals. For your day trips, the first day you arrive, go ahead, drop your luggage off into your room very quickly, and then run back out to visit all the travel agencies and shop around for the best tours, the best amenities for the price that you're looking for. And you want to make sure you're shopping for these tours as soon as you arrive because sometimes they do book up for the next day. But even if that happens where you can't get on a tour tomorrow, you can usually get on a tour the day after tomorrow. So as long as you have a 4 to 5 day window, you should be perfectly fine booking once you arrive.
So our next point is stick with your guide. When you're on a snorkeling tour, we learned the hard way. You should always stick with your guide. Your guide will come and say, hey, why don't you guys, you can go and you can snorkel independently. You can go out on your own. Don't do it. Just go with your guide. We went out on our own for about 10 or 15 minutes and we saw next to nothing. We got with our guide and we saw everything we wanted to see. In fact, the people who stayed with the guide the whole time, they saw turtles and sharks and all kind of things that we didn't see. And you ask yourself, why? Well, that's simple. The guide's got years of experience in the area. He knows what he's looking for. He knows what he wants to show you. So if you stick with your guide, trust me, you're going to have a stellar time. Next, if you want to take a cruise, we find that Santa Cruz has some of the best last minute options. There are so many travel agencies that offer so many varying deals that we like to recommend that you see 3 to 5 potential agencies to see if you can price check and find the best deal available. Now, one drawback to cruises is that if you are prone to seasickness, this probably wouldn't be the right fit for you. As I am, I'm prone to seasickness, so I know that being on a ship for a given amount of time might be trouble for me and could ruin my trip. So we have heard from people that after about 2 or 3 days, the seasickness start to settle in and they start to get wobbly legs. So if you're prone to seasickness, being on a boat for 3 to 5 days might not be the ideal situation for you because the Galapagos waters do get quite wavy.
But staying on land does have its disadvantages as well. We do find that the port towns on the islands are quite noisy at night. And this is because all the bars and restaurants are open air. So all that noise of the music and people partying carries over into your accommodation. So we wound up having to wear earplugs in nearly every port city that we stayed in.
That's true.
To get around that, you can do like we did and still stay in city center and wear earplugs, or you can book your accommodations about 10 minutes walk from the city center. It's a bit more inconvenient in that the fact you have to walk a lot more, but if you prefer to have the peace and quiet and silence, it might be worth it for you to make that 10-minute walk if you're going to stay in the port city center.
So also, if you're going to Isabella Island, you're going to want to book a round-trip ferry. When? Immediately. That's because a lot of times people can get stranded trying to get back from Isabella Island. Sometimes ferry tickets from Isabella Island to Santa Cruz get sold out, and people who don't know this usually find themselves in a bit of trouble. This was almost a reality for a couple that was traveling that we met. They had to go to several travel agencies just to get tickets so they can get back and get off the island. Fortunately, they were able to find one agency that had 2 seats left, and they were able to continue on their journey. Otherwise, they'd have to stay an additional night on the island. So when you book your ticket going to Isabella, be sure to go ahead and book your ticket back or your round trip ticket at the same time.
Another thing to consider is to bring your own snorkel gear. There are several places on San Cristobal, Santa Cruz, and on Isabella where you can go to the free beaches and snorkel and see all types of amazing things in the water. So if you bring your own snorkel gear, that makes it super easy to just go whenever you want to. Now, each island does offer snorkel rentals as well. You just have to walk into town, rent your snorkel gear, and then head off to the beach. So it's a little bit more inconvenient, but snorkel rentals are not that expensive. They start at about $3 per day to maybe $5 or $7 a day, depending on which island you're on.
Another tip is bringing your own long swimwear. That way you can stay warm while you're swimming or stay warm while you're snorkeling. These waters are very frigid. As mentioned, when we said that the penguins show up here from time to time, that's because the waters are cold enough for them to swim in. Well, we're not penguins, so we're not protected. We're not protected from that ice cold water. So our suggestion is having long sleeve and long pants to swim in, or better yet, if you can rent or have your own long sleeve or long pants wetsuit, this will protect you more in the water for this kind of cold. Now, initially, the water may not be very cold, but over time, being in that cold water, you're going to start to feel it, and you're going to start quivering and shaking because you're going to be cold. And there's nothing worse than upsetting your beautiful snorkeling experience by being too cold to enjoy it. So we recommend you get the gear, even if you have to pay a few extra dollars to rent it. But if you have your own, that's even better.
Yeah, nowadays they even have those swim shirts that have UV protection already on them, so you don't even need to lather yourself down with sunblock if you get a long swim shirt. And we do hear the water does warm up in January. We just never experienced it, so it was still pretty cold to us. So another thing is that you can't drink the water in the Galapagos. So if you can bring a water bottle that has a water filter so you can filter the water yourself, or just know that you'll have to buy all of your water once you arrive.
Another tip is you can't flush toilet paper in the Galapagos Islands. In fact, people recommend that you not flush toilet paper anywhere in South America because it really disrupts their pipes, their sewage system. It could clog and cost hundreds of dollars of damage just by throwing some tissue in the toilet. So we want to recommend that you always put your tissues in the can and avoid putting them in the toilet. It takes a moment to get used to, but once you get used to it, you won't even have to think about it.
Also, you want to prepare for poor Wi-Fi connectivity. Because the Galapagos are so isolated, they do not have the best Wi-Fi in the world. So even if you are able to get on, you're going to have slow connectivity, spotty coverage, or sometimes no coverage whatsoever. When we were on Santa Cruz Island, we did not have any Wi-Fi for 2 out of our 3 nights on the island. So we do not recommend the Galapagos as a place to do any type of remote work. When you come to the Galapagos, it's best to go ahead and tell everyone you know that you probably won't be in contact for a week or 2 because the coverage there is just that unreliable. But that's what makes it a great place to go to really relax and to really unplug from the matrix, really unplug from everything around you, because there's a high probability you won't have access to all of that anyway.
So, if you found these Galapagos tips useful, be sure to like and subscribe and check out all of our Galapagos videos somewhere around here.
I think it's there.
She thinks it's there. So check that out. And also, we just want to thank you guys for always supporting us in our travels and our experiences. This has been a life experience for us, and we are very, very grateful. Thank you for supporting and sharing our videos. We really, really appreciate it. All right, world travelers, that's our journey. Good luck in planning yours.
Bye.